the weekend webinar. Well, the markets had a interesting week with a lot of the stocks we follow doing very well. The indices themselves, we made nominal new highs on Friday on the S&P. 5264.85 was the high, and it closed up 10 points off the high, still up about 586, 1/10 of 1%. The Nasdaq 100, you can see it hasn't really made much progress in a week, but it's flagging, and it's still above support. I think the key number for this one on the NDX is about 17,765, and on the S&P, it's got to be closer to the 21-day moving average down around, I would call it, let's see, 5167, something like that. So we got room on both sides, and you can see the trend has been very strong. How about the S&P 500? Since November, in 5 months, it's gone up 1,100 points. 1,100, 25%. Actually, the NDX has gone from, let's say, a low of about 14,058 to a high of 18,464. So we're talking about 4,400 points, about 30%, I think it is, maybe 28%. So you can see the consolidation has taken place. If we can get up through this double top, the projection is over 19,000 on the NDX. On the S&P, depending on the angle of ascent, of course, near-term projection will be up around 53, 10, 15. That's my projection. Now, what about the IWM? Well, small caps have done well of late. Last couple of days have been very good, and we made a new high in the IWM at 211.88, closed back at 210.23, up about 0.3%. But you can see the progression here. There is a key resistance coming up laterally about 215.5 and 218. We're coming out of a base, pulling back, and then channeling. This sure looks pretty good. 212.25 was the highest we've reached in the last 2 years. And so it's pushing a 2-year high here, but there's going to be resistance just above. Transportation index, you can see, has trailed quite a bit, although just of late we've come up again. 6 of the last 8 sessions we've been up, and we're now at key resistance. That's the highest level achieved. Let's see where we reached here. It's not quite the February high yet. We need to break out over 16,273. But this whole platform, after a V bottom, could be very constructive for a big move. If transportation keeps going and confirms the other indices, we would have a major bull blow-off. Remains to be seen. Underlying technicals, here's what they look like. The McClellan oscillator is plus 72. Now that's somewhat overbought, not extremely, and not the levels we've seen when major market tops came in. And I would have to say at least over 150.60, perhaps closer to 200. Right now, 71 is not going to do it. The percentage of stocks participating above the 41-day moving average, 69%. Now, when it's gotten to the 79.85 area, that's when it's been overbought. So if we can get the McClellan up towards 200 plus, and the T2108, which is the percent of stocks above the 40 up near the 80 range, and then the VIX, which really hasn't done much. You can see how it's drifted. If that thing continues to drift lower, get down to the apathetic levels, I would have to say closer to 9, give or take half a point. That's where I think the combination of these 3 factors in those levels would cause the market to be more extreme on the overbought side. Not quite yet there. Let's take a look at the components of the Nasdaq 100 leaders. Apple has been in a downtrend, and basically, technically, it's been in a downtrend since, believe it or not, mid-December. Making lower lows, declining channel. If we crack support, that's a big one right now, 168.5. Conceivably, we could see 164, even 160. On the upside, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, NVDA, you name it, all doing great. Look at this consolidation here on Amazon. It's bullish, and it's near the all-time, well, multi-year highs anyway. Microsoft flagging bullishly, although it was down every day last week. Interesting, when the market was strong. That's That's, to me, I find that it's a negative divergence. Google in a rising or extending bull pennant looks very strong. If it gets above 155, you might see 165. Netflix pulling back a little bit, but still in a rising channel. NVDA also pulled back for 3 days. Got to hold that, in my opinion, above 888, 887. Because other than that, it could be vulnerable to a much deeper retrace. The breakout could get you to 1100. And Meta pulled back as well, down every day last week. Kind of interesting, huh? I don't want this one under 47576. And then you have the 50-day moving average comes in at 465. Those are 2 levels to consider. But it's kind of looking toppy, and I'm worried about Meta in particular. Had a big run. Tesla, well, certainly in a downtrend. That's up top, and then this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. If we get one more wave down, we might be looking at 140.50 zone. It's going to need to get back above the 50, and the VWAP, say over 187, would convince me it's on its way back into the low 2s. Okay, well, I'm going to look at some of the major ETFs we follow. Look at the semiconductor SMH powerhouse move. Also last week flagging, but within a larger wedge. We take that out, we can power to a 250.60. That would be something and lead the market higher. But bank stocks, very strong. You can look at Citibank just alone right there. And Goldman Sachs. BAC, you'll see they're all trending sharply higher. For the FAS trending, until that breaks down under the, I would have to say key support right now, lateral price and moving average support comes in about 96.5. A long way from that. Initial support, 106. Beautiful trend underway there. Projection, 127.8 at some point if we blow off into. What's trailing are biotechs. Take a look at the XBI. It hasn't gone anywhere for a month. It's actually drifted lower. It's on the verge of, well, it's got support at 92. It better hold that. If it doesn't, you're looking at 86.7. Biotech's weaker, although it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's near the trend line. So I would expect if we do get a market blow off to the upside or some kind of late surge, and we get to 5350, 5400 on the S&P, something like that, the XBI could make another move up, particularly if it gets above 97.5. It can start to run. Of course, LABU is the same. It's just another biotech ETF, and you can see it's very similar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Support on this one is 122. And if it gets a breakout, we're looking at 150 and 180. Okay, other ETFs we follow. Oil's been strong of late. Look at the USO trending out above the declining top line out of a base at resistance here. And should it go further, you might see 81 3/4, 82 tested. It's now 78.77. The GUSH really moving up late too, and that's a double bull. It's in a beautiful uptrend. You can see near the top of the channel. However, next key resistance would be up in the zone of 42.43. That's your next projection on this one. Some pretty good resistance there, though, going way back. If we get through that, we might blow off into the 51.2 zone. Keep an eye on oil. What about gold? Look at the GLD, which is really tracking the price of gold itself, the gold trust. On Friday alone, up 358, 1 3/4% gain. But more importantly, how about all-time high ever, along with the price of gold, as you know, in the 2,200 and change range. That's all-time highs as well. Now, the other ETFs in gold aren't doing as well, although we can see the GDX was up 2.5% on Friday and is now the highest level in about 4 or 5 months. Key resistance at 32.35 area, 32.5 is what's going to be needed to get this one running. GDXJ, same thing. You see the set resistance up there at 39.5. And our favorites to trade, the Nugget, just broke out Friday, but has work to do. Same with JNUG. That one broke out as well. There's a resistance above. We'll be watching that. In the silver sector, AGQ, nothing yet, meaning it had a nice pop off the low, but has a big line of resistance up near, I would have to say, 33. So silver's got work to do, gold's got work to do, but they're looking much better. Natural gas, boy, is it weak. Look at the KOLD. Now, Friday, it took a bit of a hit after reaching a new rally high at 167.23, up in about 3-4 weeks from 106. So a nice 60-point move on that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is this going to be a truncated fifth, or are they going to extend it way up to 240.50? Wouldn't surprise me if that happens, if natural gas continues to drop. So oil, and by the way, the BOIL on Friday perked up on 16 million shares. I'm not sure it's ready yet, but keep an eye on it. So that's gold, silver, oil, and gas. I'm going to move on to a bunch of stocks we have to cover today, and just a few shorts. ACMR, member of the strong semiconductor group, and a beautiful rising trend that broke away. Retested the gap, held it, and bounced, creating a new trend line right there, and a large wedge. If it goes, high 30s target. ACTG, the stock I followed for years, has built a nice 2-year base and broke out. A big engulfing reversal day on Friday, which tells me this may want to go even further. I'm now looking for 6 and 7.5. Biotech stocks in general, somewhat consolidating, but Friday, ADCT popped. I believe this is the peanut allergy stock. I'll have to double check that. Anyway, rising channel. You can see where key resistance lies. It would be near 6. And if you get through that, which is your next target, you might see 8. ADMA, another biotech in a beautiful rising channel with lateral resistance up around 697. You get through that, you might accelerate towards 8. AEO in the retail sector, fabulous run. In less than a year, it's gone from under 10 to mid-20s. And my projection is now high 20s, low 30s. AEYE software, beautiful base pattern. Broke out. I noted that 2 weeks ago. That came down. It might be an entry opportunity for the next leg that takes us up to 13-14. ALAR, first in rising channel and then an accelerated rising channel. And the beauty at that, it's pulled back. Also might be in a buying opportunity here with a target of 25 and 29. ALT popped last week after a 3-week consolidating or 4-week falling wedge. You can see Wednesday and Thursday pop. Your targets now are 11 3/4, 12.5. AMTX exploded 4 days in a row. Literally went from about 2 3/4 to 7, nearly tripling. Now a wedge. Pretty powerful look to it. The target would be 9 if it continues. Best retailer stock out there have to be ANF. Well, there's a couple. This one went from 14.43 to a mere 140. 10-fold increase. I challenge you to find a better retailer that went up 1,000% or 900%. Anyway, currently consolidating what looks like a flag. I can't tell, but there's a lot of negative technical, so I'd have to say be careful, and this must be stopped on a 113.5. ANNX in the biotech sector, very nice big breakout with volume out of a base. Consolidate, pop, retest the channel bottom, and stair step your way higher. Target is 10. APP, AppLovin broke out. We put a swing on it. It continues to press. I like the look of this. Targets are 80 and 95. ARLO, after a beautiful run up, almost a 9-month base coil breakout, it's been running ever since. At this point, you can see the double top was taken out. It very well just might get into high teens, low 20s at some point. Strong chart. ARQ also breaks out of a base and spiked up. And in a rising channel like this, with pretty good technicals, other than Tuesday, when it had that pullback. And you can see that it's trying to right itself. My target is 8. ARQT, It's been in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a lot. Wait for flag's about a month now. If this breaks out, 16 and 20 might be targets. ASPN, another beautiful breakout of a base, sharp run up, and then a nice fib retracement at 0.375 of the entire move, followed by a spike up and consolidation. Target 22. AU in the gold sector, and one of my favorites, base, breakout, retest, and it's moving. Up 4 days in a row now, targets at 23 and 26. AZEK, a beautiful rising channel, taking it from the mid-20s to the low 50s, and it's flagging in here. Next target, 57. BAND, beautiful base, breakaway gap, falling wedge right to support. You got to tell you, if this pops, this could be low 20s, mid-20s. Biohaven, beautiful rising channel, accelerated. The breakout occurred last September. It's gone from 17 to 60, now flagging. If it holds, if it breaks out of this level above 61.2, I would look for low 70s. Bluebird, the automotive company, what a great chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, and then a long consolidation, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth wave is up. 42 target. BSX, long rising channel, but take a look at the base it built here. Broke out of it, retested several times, and broke out again. From this point, 55, it went to 68. My target is 75. Copper breaks out of a base, retests, and forms a rising channel. New all-time highs over 70 from the high 20s back in December, but the momentum is strong, and I wouldn't be surprised to see 75.80. Seiko Environmental, beautiful long-term trend. Maybe breaking out of a wedge here, a big one. If it does, retest the high at 24 and then look at 27. CGC, been a monster in the last 2 weeks, having taken a run from 2 3/4, believe it or not, to 1040 in just 10 days. 300% in 10 days. So obviously the reversal on Friday, a heavy volume of 50 million at resistance might cause some sort of pullback consolidation. But if they get to 1040, look out. 12 and 14 might be targets. Cognite, Cognite breaks out, pulls back, runs up, flags, and pops out on Friday. Friday jumping 6%. My target is 9.5. CLRB, beautiful long-term base, breakout, and look at this flag. This is a nice setup for a run. It could take this to 6.5 and 8. CLS has been powerful for the last almost a year now. It's gone from 10.5 to 49.5, almost fivefold. Just broke out of a wedge and it's consolidating in here. Let's call this a large consolidation pattern. Should it break out, 53 and 59 would be targets. COHR is consolidating. When it broke out here, we put a swing on it. It then pulled back and popped, but then pull back again. It needs to hold this pattern and break to the upside. If so, the target is 67 and 73. Koya. Well, you know, I've been talking about this since it was trading 3 or 4. It tripled, got up to 1069. But look how it's held support in this 8 3/4 9 zone for about 4 weeks. Thursday, Friday, it pumped back up again. And should this get above 1069, I would look for 13. Cardiff breaks out, runs up, rising wedge, very strong pattern. I'd like this for an extension to 7.5 next. CRNT, a tech trader swing. Pop, broke out, pulled back. We put a swing on it. Its stock has moved from 2 3/4 to 3.5, 338. My target is 4. CRNX, breakaway. Pull back flag. We put a swing on it. Worked its way a little bit and then started the trend. Mid-20s to the high 40s. And currently popping out of a flag or wedge. Target is 52. Castilium in the aluminum sector is a key technical breakout above a triple quadruple top. Not sure where they can take this, but boy, I'll tell you what, it has room to run, doesn't it? I would estimate 25 for starters. Carvana, rising channel, rising flag above a double top. Pretty strong chart, wouldn't you say? Be careful, but the target is 101, 102. Dell. Been a swing of mine since here, back in September, when it was in its high 60s. It made it up to 131. Pull back, and now it's set up to go some more. Target 135.37. DJT, that's the new media company for Donald Trump, spiked from 17 to 58, pulled back, consolidated for 2 months, and spiked from 32 to 79. Now the 2-day pullback has it set up for maybe more. We'll see. Target 90. DraftKings been on my swing of mine since way back when it broke out of this base back here in last May. The stock at that point was in the low or mid 20s. It now has gone doubled into the mid 40s, but the 2-day pullback has it right back on support. Be careful. DNUT with a major deal with McDonald's. That's Krispy Kreme. Literally went from 12.45 in 1 day to almost 18, about 50%, and then pull back. Pullback is on decreasing volume, but it must hold 14.35. Looking for a pullback in the 16.17 range for starters. DTSS exploded back in February and literally went from $1.50 to 20 in 1 day. Then look at the wedges form their coil. Right near the apex. I would say over 8.75 with volume. Stock could fly into the 11-12 range. DYN, beautiful rising channel. Multiple consolidations. Another one here. Should it get through this range? 35 and 39.40 are targets. EGY, a junior oil stock, keep breaking out of a beautiful base. Needs to pull back, consolidate, but my target eventually is 8.5. EH spiked, coiled, and broke out on Friday, Thursday. I suspect we might get up to 23.4. ELEV explodes, coils, breaks out, forms another coil, and now it's been moving up slowly but steadily. If I can see this over 550, you might see 6 or 7, maybe more. EVER, just put a swing on it as I like the way this coil set up for a move into the low to mid 20s, maybe even high 20s. FATE breaks out of a base and keeps running. Now that coil is formed, you can see that Wednesday, Thursday, the stock popped. I'm looking for a retest of 9 and then a move into the 11-12 zone. Copper strong, the FCX breaks out over triple top and is right above the double top from last year. So for me, clear sailing potentially into the high 40s, low 50s. FTAI, what a beautiful chart. It's gone from mid-teens to high 60s, basically 300%. Doesn't look done yet. Good momentum, but it's hard to say how far. I'd say 75. FTI, another oil and gas stock perking up. After a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth wave started. It's now 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking for another wave to take this to the high 20s. GBTC, well, the Bitcoin crypto stocks have had monster runs, and I'd be careful. But as long as GBT stays above 55, I'm good with a target of 75. GEO was a tech trader swing when it popped out last September around the 8 range, and it's doubled nearly to 15, 14.95, and flagging in here. Extension targets 16 and 18. GPS popped out, put a swing on it, and then consolidated for months, broke out again, now flagging. Looks pretty good for me, 35 target. HEAR breakaway, put a swing on it, kept going, met my targets, now flagging. Next target, 20 and 23. HIMS, breakaway gap, rising channel, little pullback. I would think 18 and 21 type targets. HMY in the gold sector, it's actually, I think Harmony is gold, yes, targeting 9 and 10. HNST, breakaway after a long downtrend, strong run. That saw it go from literally 1 to 3, tripled, and then a pullback to 261. I think the run up was 4.75, so it's got a 1, 2, 3. The wave 4 is underway, with the fifth wave target at 6. Hood, long base, breakout, a strong run. It's overbought. I'd be careful on this one, but momentum is strong. You might see it run into the low to mid 20s, but I would be awfully careful with your stops. HOWL base, breakout, retest, pop, and wedge. It's a hard call. I'm not sure if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it's 1, 2, 3, 4, but if we do extend, I'll look for a retest of 8, 8.25. Huya breaks out of an inverse head and shoulders and wedges. This looks very good for a swing. I would swing this to 5 1/4, 6 1/2, and 8. IBIO monster move, literally 170 million shares. Jumped from maybe 1 to 4. Thursday was a nice follow through to resistance, so it pulled back. Let this one consolidate a bit. IDYA, beautiful long-term chart in a multi-week consolidation. If it takes out 46.7, you might see low 50s, even high 50s. IoT, Internet of Things, a beautiful chart. Samsara popped, pulled back, and popped again. It's formed a wedge in here. Take that out, and we're running into the high 40s, low to mid 40s and high 40s. Jumaya, well, a little disappointed because although it did pop and broke out here, we gave you a swing and worked for target number 1. It's had a big pullback since. It's now near price support, moving average support. So this is going to have to hold here. If it gets back to 6 1/2, my targets are 8 and 10. LBPH, after exploding and flagging, I put a buy on it, but it never went anywhere. And now for 2-3 months, it's gone sideways. Friday got perky and jumped $2 to 10%. Maybe this one at the beginning of the move we're looking for. Targets 28 and 33. LFMD, beautiful rising channel, popped and pulled back in a nice orderly manner. My target is 13 1/2. Media Alpha or Max breaks out of a base, breaks through resistance, forms a coil. Friday was a bullish engulfing. My target is 25. ML, tech trader swing, popped and broke out, pulled back, wedged, broke out again nominally, and pulled back a little bit. I still think the stock, which is thin, has big upside potential. Micron, breakaway gap, pulled back and pop. You can see new all-time highs on this. I think the stock's headed for 150. NCNO breaking out of a base, it appears. With a breakaway gap, strong momentum, targeting 39 and 42. Nanox exploded in February, pulled back, and it's been wedging. I need this stock to make a better move without breaking down. My stop is under 9. Targets are 12 1/2 and 14. NOTB, beautiful chart, breaks through a lot of resistance and continues to channel up. Extension target 14. Nutanix, one of my favorites this year, continues to run. We originally put a swing on it back in September when it was trading in the low 30s. It's made it to the high 60s. My target now is 75. NVDA popped, platform for a few months, breakaway, rising flag, pop, consolidate, target 38. OCOL broke out of a base, ran up sharply. It's got a beautiful flag and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave target 18, short-term target 13. Oprah, base, breakout, and a beautiful wedge. I think the stock can pop and go. My targets are 18 and 22. ORIC, beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now this. So be careful. The fifth wave consolidation is less reliable, but the technicals are strong. I would target 18. ORN breaks out of a base, a long one, pop, falling wedge. It's a 1, 2. This is 3. We may need to have a fourth wave consolidation. Next target is 11. OUST, 2 big days last week before we closed. Not quite the resistance yet, but keep an eye on this one. Above at 8 1/2, it's a rock star. Impinj, been a tech trader swing since November when I gave it to you in the 60s. It went into a more than doubled near 130, 132 to be exact. High Friday was 132 as well. If we can hold here and extend, 142 is the target. Palantir, I'm showing you this because I'm concerned. This is a left shoulder head and right shoulder with the right shoulder on low volume, a typical head and shoulder pattern. Be very careful. 100% must stop under 22. Prax, beautiful base, breakout, rising channel, target mid 70s. Prime Water, long base, breakout, engulfing bar on Friday. If this gets up through 18 1/2, low 20s target. Pubmatic, breakaway gap, wedge, pop, and flag looks very good. I like this for 27. PWFL, breaks out of a base and keep running. Nice target of 6. Take traded swing quick. Popped. As we give you a swing right there, got to the target, pull back. Could be a buy here. I like the technicals. Targeting 19 and 22. Excuse me. REVG. Beautiful rising channel and a nice pop last week. Took it right to the channel top and resistance. So be careful up here, but momentum is strong. RNA, well, tech trader swing, this has been ongoing ever since December when it was trading at 6. It's gone fourfold to 26. And this flag tells me we go higher, 29 and 32 targets. Root, maybe star of the year, breakaway gap, and we put a swing on it. And it jumped from 14 to 60 and change. Came down to 50 and then right back up to 61. My target's 80, I kid you not. SAMA breaks out of a downtrend, spikes, pulls back, runs up, and backs up again. Right now, this falling wedge broke out. So I'm looking for a run that takes us to mid-teens. Copper stock SCCO to new all-time highs after breaking through a double top. Beautiful rising pattern. I wouldn't be shocked to see 120. Seed, after spiking up in February and pulling back on a falling wedge, it tested the breakout point. It held the falling wedge, popped to resistance, backed off one more time, and then broke through. Right now it's near resistance, but I'm telling you, this is a $5, $6, $7 stock, maybe more. It could be explosive. It's very thin. Be careful. Sprouts Family Markets, gorgeous chart. Basically low 20s to mid 60s and flagging. Target 72.75. Sweet Greens broke away 3 weeks ago and just kept running. Can't tell you how far it can go, but boy, I would have to say right now there's a possibility the stock makes it into the 30-35 range. Seeger breaks out of a base and goes vertical, then pulls back and holds. A move above 9 gets you 11. SKX Skechers has been a long multi-month consolidation within a large rising pattern. To me, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is going to be a 5th wave run to mid-70s. SLDB, long downtrend, breakout, rising channel, flag, another one, target, mid-20s. Spire, exploded out of a flag and then came down on a secondary. It's flagging in here and it isn't necessarily good, but the underlying technicals are. So I'll stick with this one until and if it breaks under $11. SPR, Spirit Aerosystems, a beautiful rising channel with a long-term target in the high 40s, short-term target 40. SPRY, another biotech running. We got to the channel top and backed off, but that's above resistance, a triple top takeout, and this might extend into the 12 range. Square, a tech traded swing, breaks out, consolidates, pops, looks like it wants to move higher. I would say 96 and 109 are targets. STM, rising channel, and then coil, pop, test, and flag. 6 and 7 are targets. STOK, Stoke, broke out, exploded on volume, and pulled back Friday on lower volume. Keep an eye on this one because if it does pop, especially above 16, your first target, then you can see 19 or 20. Swivel, SWVL with a big run, coil, pop wedge, pop wedge. If we get one more, you're looking at 1820. No kidding. Talk, beautiful chart, great rising channel. A little flag in here. I'll tell you, if this gets over 3 3/4, 4.5 and 5.5 targets, maybe 5 3/4. TARS, another biotech with an inverse head and shoulder breakout and run up, got to the target and backed off to the moving average. That is your channel. The next target will be a retest of 40. TCNNF, a stock I never talk about. It's a marijuana stock, the breakout, coil, pop, and flag. Looking for a move to 16 on this one. This may be a good swing. Teva has been in a beautiful rising channel since October. When it was 8, it's made it to 14 with a target of 16.5. Tandem popped out, put a swing on it. It's been channeling up in a stair-step manner. Here's your channel. Above 40. TPC, breakaway, little pullback, retest, and a nice channel up. 17, 19.5 targets. That's a construction company. Chip Advisors breaks out of a base, wedge, flag, pop, coil. Target 31, 33. TXT, I gave you a swing on it way back. It didn't work because it took months to develop a base, but it broke out again. Now it's running. Targeting 99 and then 115. Uber, been in a long-term rising channel, currently in a multi-week flag. Any breakout above 82 should get you 90, 95. VCEL, after the inverse head and shoulder, you can see the way the stock consolidated, ran up. It formed a coil and it held to 50 and then it exploded. This has been up for 7 days in a row, 8 days in a row, and it's making new highs here. Momentum could take it to high 50s. Vico, long-term breakout, stair-stepped higher, extension target 42. Vera, beautiful long-term chart, breakout here, big spike up breakout, and now flag. Target 55 and 60. VERI, tech traded swing, popped and ran, pulled back a couple days. Need to hold around there ideally. Your next target is 8. VINC, coiling near the trend line after a big run. Keep an eye on this one for a pop, but underneath 4, 4.25 out. VIST, beautiful long-term chart. Look at that beauty. Little pullback flag. My target's 45, 46. Viking Therapeutics was one of our better swings this year as it popped from 39 to 99 for us. Then it's pulled back and it's been coiling for a few weeks now. Break out of here, we're looking at 125, 135. VNT, Vontier, beautiful rising pattern, and broke out on Friday. Sky's the limit, high 40s target, low 50s. VRRM, beautiful rising channel. Channel top target right now, high 20s. VRT, also on a rising channel and maybe accelerating. At some point, I'm looking for high 90s. VST, another tremendous stock in the utility group, and this one's really powerful. I would think 78, 80 could be a target. Western Digital, new multi-year highs. Highest since 21. Your target has to be a retest of that level around 78. And Zeta Global breaks out of a base and is running. I'm going to put a swing on this one. I like the look of it. An institutional report that's pretty damn bullish. But that's fundamentals. Technically, if the fundamentals are strong and the technicals look good, I would say a 12.5, 13.75, and then 15 would be targets. And that's the look at the longs. There's a few shorts to cover, and then we'll call it a day for now. AKAM came down hard from the bear flag. We put a swing, a short on it at 110.12 range. It got down to about 90, 106. That's all. You can see that the pattern that's forming might be a large bear coil. See it? But it's got to break down. If it does, your targets are 102, 96, and 90. ATGE at resistance. If it breaks out, you're covering. If it rolls over, it's probably going to get hammered back into the mid-40s. CAR is a rising bear flag of sorts after a nasty breakdown. If it fails somewhere in that zone, it could roll over, retest 100, and get down to 80 or 85. CEIX looks like a top, broke, rallied back, held support. I can't tell if it's going to break down, but you're seeing some pretty red bars there. Underlying technicals don't look good. And should take 76 out, look out to 62. INMD came down hard and bounced from the wedge. Ran to the channel top, failed, bounced off support. This entire pattern could be either a base or a big bear flag. If it breaks down, look out. Low to mid-teens. LITE. Head and shoulder type top. Obvious stop would be over 53 and change. But anything under 44.5, the stock could collapse into the high 30s, even mid-30s. New York Times breaks down, forms a bear wedge. Bear coil may have broken Friday. Keep an eye on this one, especially if it takes out 42. Then I think it's headed to 39 and 35. YELP breaks head and shoulder top of the breakaway gap and now has a rising bear flag. Underlying technicals look lousy. Obviously, you can stop over 40.5, but if it breaks down from here, It could come down hard into the mid-30s, even low 30s. Autodesk may be a left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We're going to have to see if it breaks down or not. Watching that one. AMN in a big downtrend. Is this a big bear wedge or base? You're going to find out if it cracks here, targeting 50. CCK broke a massive head and shoulder top, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. A rising bear wedge to resistance. If it breaks out, you're covering. If it breaks down, it's going to get hammered back into the high 60s. CMT, big breakdown, multi-month consolidation. Waiting to see if it breaks out or down. If it breaks down, you'll retest mid-teens and then low teens. Fox Factory had a good day Friday, but it's still not above resistance. This is the tech trader swing short there at about 68. And we made it down to 44. So nice short there. And now it's consolidating. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and that may take a little longer, but eventually high 30s target. Qualis broke down, broke its rising channel. Let me draw that in for you. And you have a big bear coil here. Friday and Wednesday and Thursday were fairly bullish days, but the technicals aren't great. If this breaks down from here, retest 158, get down to 145 and lower. Sentinel 1 broke down. It's got a bear coil or bear pennant, so be careful. Any break underneath 2185 or so, this stock could be 18 pretty quickly. And finally, Zscaler breaks down. It's got a falling flag, very bearish. I don't see energy in this stock at all. And if it breaks down, it could run hard into for 20, 30 points, I would think. That's it for today, everybody. And that's a detailed look at the indices, underlying technicals, Nasdaq 100 generals, major ETFs we follow, a list of 125 longs, about 30 shorts. Folks, it's a pretty comprehensive look, and I'd like you to review this several times so you're prepared properly for next week. In the meantime, have a great rest of your weekend. This is HB signing off. Bye for now.